Hello and welcome to TVC News this hour. Former Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says many of the monetary claims arising from the Paris Club reforms were fraudulent. The former Vice President, a professor of law, said this while sharing his thoughts on the legal requirement of a consent from the Attorney General of the State of the Federation before the enforcement of a monetary judgment against the government or its entities. Kemi Foladiemo has more.
This year's ALEX annual lecture looks at the rule of law and economic development in Nigeria, noting the complexities, challenges and opportunities existing in their relationship. The keynote speaker, Yemi Osinbajo, SAN, faults the requirement by the Sheriff and Civil Processes Act for the consent of the AG of the state or the federation before enforcing a monetary judgment against a government entity. He believes that this requirement adds to the undue delays faced by litigants in civil court cases, which hampers critical national investment. But he also alludes to a connivance between purported judgment creditors and government officials in enforcing bogus debts, such as the huge Paris Club refund payments to controversial government consultants, which rocked the nation in 2019.
I had the unpleasant task of reviewing some of the Paris Club refund cases and concluded that it was a fraud. Many of them were just frauds on the system, and had the active collusion of public officials who would benefit from these. So, as I said, one is sometimes in two minds about whether you shouldn't have a situation where there's a review of it, but I mean, it certainly isn't, it certainly in my view is unconstitutional to have a situation where the judgment of a court is subject to a further process of approval by the Attorney General of the Federation or Attorney General of the state.
Other speakers examined the barriers hampering economic growth in the nation.
A lot of laws that are passed in Nigeria will never have been submitted to the legislature because they don't even have the content of fairness and the content of justice. The executive arm is always seeking to acquire more powers that do not require any surveillance.
A lot of the regulatory agencies that are supposed to set rules, set laws, to support business development or to create an environment, an enabling environment for businesses, they've been so politicized that they are almost like an appendage of whatever the political power say, and how they're not able to actually deliver on their mandate.
I therefore wish to use this opportunity to appeal to residents and to encourage them to comply voluntarily with our laws. Voluntary compliance with laws and regulations of states, such as environmental, physical planning, income tax, land use charges, etc., and not wait for coercive power of enforcement of the law with the attendant consequences.
Among the actionable solutions proffered here are consistency in judicial decisions, heavy sanctions to deter delay tactics in court, fully automated court proceedings, an operational arbitration practice, and improved living standards for all citizens. Kemi Foladiemo, TVC News, Lagos.